Wow. I just got to turn this on and start going because it's coming. The transmission is really awake in me. Aloha, family. Oh, I'm sitting in the car. I'm sitting behind the wheel of the car right now because this is where it's happening. This is where I am. And I am riding this morning's transmission of the shadow of oppression through the somatic resourcing and discovery process of what I call effortless ecstasy. Exploring the 47th gene key, the pathway of moving from oppression to transfiguration. And it's the pathway of transmutation. And what I noticed in reflecting on my morning contemplation, somatic contemplation, is that we spend a lot of time in the shadow. It's easy to do that. I think we're doing that a lot. Collectively, we're spending a lot of time focusing on the shadow. And I did that this morning. I laughed at myself when I noticed in retrospect that I spent a lot of time focused on oppression, on the feelings of oppression. In comparison, within the small time that I had, to the time I spent really cherishing the gift and venerating the Siddhi in their magnificence, in their beauty, in their humility and simplicity. And I realized that's because this warm-up to the effortless ecstasy transmission that's happening on Saturday morning is going to be in 3 parts, just as these gene keys are. And this morning was a journey into the shadow. And there's, of course, much more that we can and will investigate and explore at a deeper and more intimate level in the shadow of oppression, in the container of the effortless ecstasy journey. And also, we want to spend our time in our gifts, not in our shadows. That is our intent. That is my personal intent. That is my desire. That is the more beautiful future that I see for myself and for humanity, is all of us, every single child, every single teenager, every single daughter and son, every mother and father, every uncle and auntie, every grandmother and grandfather, that we are all living more consistently and exquisitely through the gifts that are inside of us, yearning to find a place to land in the world. Secret gifts. All of us have these secret gifts that have hidden away inside of us until now, when they were needed most. And when we had the favorable conditions and the personal maturity and the courage and the tenderness to show ourselves to the world for the first time, some part of ourselves, some intimate, precious secret that's lain hidden away from the world until now. We all have one of those secrets, at least one. I don't know what yours is, but I know that if this current phase of evolution, this current collective incarnation that we're in right now, could use anything, it could use people giving their gifts generously to the whole. It could use people sharing themselves vulnerably with the world and into the world, sharing their creative innocence into the world. So this is the gift. This is the gift frequency that effortless ecstasy, this embodied contemplation, as I sit here kind of still, this embodied contemplation of how to stay in our bodies, how to be connected to and be conducting energy through our bodies as we are digesting and processing information, resourcing ourselves in our bodies in the breath. As we experience the world, and as we face shadows and seek to transmute those shadows into the gifts that are available in the presence of those shadows, and call upon the miraculous and impersonal forces of our deepest and most ancient intelligence to come forth. And we do that by resourcing ourselves, resourcing this body, which is here now, having this experience with the mind and the heart. So as I drive, as I'm moving through the world, as I'm just doing what I would otherwise be doing now, I find myself somatically resourcing myself, keeping the energy moving in my life, in my body, through my spine, strengthening in a really easy, no break, no sweat way, just moving and adjusting my core and encountering the really specific isolation work that can happen in the core and in the lower spine when we're sitting down on something. It really helps us get a feel for isolation, where we have range and where our range is oppressed by unconscious tension in the form of inflexibility, weakness, and and an inability for the system to remain coherent, a fluid and dynamic whole, because something is locked up in the middle somewhere, right? So I'm continually resourcing myself. And as my body is more resourced with breath, then my mind is more resourced with manna. My mind is more alive. My mind is more light. As I lift myself up, instead of staying hunched back and laying back and being in the posture that has been laid for me in this car, instead of laying back into this thing that feels comfortable because I feel tired. No need feel tired. I sit up. As often as I feel called. It's not all the time. It's not like I'm some perfect incarnation of this dude who sits up. I just, as often as I remember, I sit up and I breathe and I wiggle my shoulders. Because we are engaged in the transmission right now, in the solar transmission. It's coming through the light waves of the sun right now. And we're in this last phase of the solar phase of the 47th gene key and the 47th gift of transmutation. This is what this time is all about, my friends. I feel excited. My feet are doing this like a giddy child right now because I feel so excited when I reflect on the gift of transmutation and what that is. What is transmutation? What is the gift that we unlock when we face our oppression openly and with an open heart? Well, in my contemplation just now that had me just pull over and begin, is that transmutation is, as we know, alchemically speaking, the transforming of the base material of the shadow into gold, the transformation of lead into gold, the transformation of pain into gold, the transformation ultimately of our suffering into the gold of love, the gold of beauty, the gold of tenderness, the gold of fellowship and belonging, that we may transmute whatever arises before us in this unpredictable and uncertain field of experience. Whatever people, whatever situations, whatever pain in my body, whatever ecstasy in my body, that I can be there. That's transmutation. And with that, I want to invite some breath together, a pause in the words. Last one, deepest one yet. We're gonna hold at the top and open and stretch our upper body. Hanma. Take another sip, lengthen your spine. This is an exquisitely vulnerable transmission. It's a very intimate gift that I'm sharing with you. I get excited and start to hurry sometimes when I feel this much mana in my body. I used to call it fear. Now I call it divine aid, because I have transmuted that fear. Or am transmuting that fear through my breath. Because transmutation is not a thing we do. It's not a doing. There's not an action. It's not a particularly volitional experience. Transmutation, as I have experienced it and continue to experience it and refine and develop my taste for it and capacity for it, is entirely about the quality of presence. The quality of actual presence here and now with this, with what is, with the actual moment of it happening, without flipping into a script of some kind, without flipping into a reactive program that has been embedded into our nervous systems, without slipping into the shadow ourselves. We encounter the shadow as it arises, because here we are in this land of light and shadow. Hopefully all of us devoted to shining more and more light into this darkness all the time, yes? And so where I find this darkness, I need not go looking for it, because the more I shine, the more exquisite and complex and alchemically potent darknesses we encounter. But we transmute the darkness of our suffering, of our pain, of our rage and our violence, of our denial. We transmute the suffering of our projections onto others, our projections and criticism and judgment upon ourselves. We transmute the self-hatred in the moment, not by everything's fine, everything's just fine. Yes, okay. Not by suppressing, right? Not by denying and numbing it and cutting a part of ourselves off just so we don't have to feel it, right? And also not by attacking or fighting the shadow when it arises. Whatever energetic and tonal and verbal programs run when our trauma is present and we are losing conscious grasp and internal conscious choice. We're surrendering it to something in that moment. Something very familiar that feels safer than changing the pattern. Shifting the pattern. Which can only happen if we interrupt the pattern and fall into a moment of chaos. Like a moment of, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I am. I don't know. Uncertainty. This is my purpose. It's innocence in the presence of chaos. Which give rise to innovation. Because we can't innovate a new pattern. We can't shift into a new subatomic structure by just like teleporting there yet. It's not how the timeline is working yet. And we can. Slow down with what is happening. Lean in to the darkness, the mystery of what might be, of the unknown. Just for even a split second. It's all it takes when you really surrender all the way. And that unlocks our oppression within a known pattern that keeps replicating. And pop, the gift opens. The gift has a chance to open, and we have a chance to transmute this darkness, whether it's two men I come upon who are striking each other, or it's somebody I know who's being dishonest with somebody else I know. Or whether it's my own impulse to do something that I know is not aligned with my highest and most precious sense of justice and beauty. Whatever it is, wherever I find it, I say yes. I taste it. I taste the shadow. I taste what the flavor of this is. Because how can I offer the proper balance of ingredients to the soup if I don't know how it tastes? I must taste it first. This is why we pause. This is why in the alchemical intimacy work that I've been receiving over the last several years, the most important thing that we can ever do is to cultivate a shared devotion to holding a particular level of emotional tonality in the space. And if anyone notices that the tonality is dropped to a certain degree, that feels less than joyous and open and sweet and loving and compassionate and soft and tender, any bit of tension in the belly, anyone can just raise a hand and pause, ask for a pause. And it doesn't mean you have to stop what you're saying in that moment. It just means that there's a pause being invited because someone needs to digest a feeling. Someone needs to taste something that just came into the space. Be with it. See what it feels like. Listen to how it echoes in the reactive responses that may be vying for purchase in your body, in your voice, in your words, right? So we taste it, and then we breathe it in. We don't just taste it and spit it out. That's not how you transmute, y'all. You taste it, and then you swallow it. No matter how it tastes, you swallow it. You swallow it and breathe it into the heart. Take it in even deeper. What? The darkness? Bad people? Terrible things? Ill will towards others? Harm? Child molestation? You just want me to just taste that and breathe that in? Yes. Into your heart. Breathe it all the way in. Don't spit it out and reject it. You can't transmute something like that. We only transmute patterns from inside of them. We have to get inside the pattern in order to join it. This is the essence of all martial arts, is never to meet force with force and never to simply just yield entirely to an opponent, which is to a force, not opponent. Please forgive me for the use of that word. I'm still learning. A force. You do not either simply allow a force of destruction, a force of violence, a force of corruption, a force of exploitation, or a force of injustice to pass into your most sacred family. Because we are each and all protectors of our family from these forces, yes? And so the way is always to join for a moment, to meet it, not to shy away and not to try to break it, but just get as close in as you can to get as good a feel as you can. Because when we transmute these emotional moments, the transmutation starts inside. We breathe it in. We shake out the tension that's seized the body in that moment, perhaps, if we're noticing more and more as we relax more and more into life. We notice the tension more and more as it arises. We live inside of a box of tension less, and we visit tension occasionally, more and more, or less and less, however you would like to think of it. But the transmutation comes from thank you, thank you, thank you. The in-breath, thank you. Thank you for being exactly as you are in this moment. Thank you. if God has delivered you to me in this way, then you must be my kuleana. You must be my sacred responsibility to meet with love. Thank you. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, global warming. Thank you, child sexual abuse. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me this pain. It must be mine to transmute because it's here. I'm experiencing it. It's not somebody else's that like came at me. It's ours. What is ours is mine. And until each of us and all of us together ultimately are standing together for the force of love to transmute the force of fear in this world, which gives rise to all of these imbalances and disharmonies in the human psyche and human relationships and human society, culture, and our impact on the planet. So we get to embody the gift. Transmutation is the transformation of a moment of fear, a moment of anger or rage or suffering of some kind, some fight with God, into love, into the experience of love, starting right here in the very heart. Thank you. Because the inhale is thank you. You taste it, you swallow it, you inhale it. Thank you. You check it. Oh, whatever it is. Oh, I love you. Aloha. 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 Mahalo. Aloha. Thank you. Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you. I love you. When you can meet whatever you meet with this, then you are a master alchemist. Because from this place, and only from this place, from thank you, I love you, can you be the most fearless, loving, courageously vulnerable, and unwaveringly clear stance and dance for love. Yeah? For the best possible outcome for everyone involved. For the win-win-win-win-win-win-win. That's what gifts do. Gifts just give. We just give and everybody wins. Give, win-win-win-win-win. When everybody's giving, everybody winning, fam. When everybody giving, everybody winning, fam. When everybody holding back for theirs to make sure they got it for a rainy day. When everybody's holding back for theirs to make sure them and 10 generations down from them has enough to never work again. Nah, fam. Nah, that's a sickness. That's an illness. We didn't come to kill this. We came to this. We came to get drunk upon the ecstasy that we can feel when we ground ourselves into the field of love, into the field of peace, into the field of transmutation. It's a dance, transmutation. Anyone can transmute any situation they're in. If you're in it, you have the capacity to transmute it. It starts with you. You alone will not most likely transmute it, which is why love collaborates. It works together. It inspires people to work together for the best possible solution. Because we are a we. And this crippling, oppressive sense of separation that so many of us live in, not even recognizing that we're one body. We're one hive intelligence. We're one beautiful body of humanity. We're one beautiful body of a couple that is two, that is one. We're one beautiful body of whatever encounter arises. There's one body there too. There's just one. And then there's all the different bodies. We got to hold them both at the same time to live in the gift, fam. The gift is in the middle there. The gift is in between the shadow of like separation and the difficulties of the separation, differentness, 10,000 things process, and the siddhi of absolute and perfect unity. Right in the middle, baby. Right in the middle. Stuck in the middle with you. Dancing in the middle with you. This is why the effortless ecstasy work keeps us dancing. So our bodies are resourced, our emotional space is resourced. We are inspired and we are respiratorily resourced to meet every single challenge that arises and ask for help when we need it. Yeah. So we're personally transmuting this personal pain, this self-shame, this self-hatred, this doubt and fear, and the ways that we constantly oppress ourselves by projecting our negative beliefs into other people and then having them even say them out loud to us sometimes, right? But that's just the beginning of the story. Now we're moving, we're rising out of that pattern, one transmuted situation at a time, with our breath, moving in ways that some people look at you and maybe think you're weird. Some people got them judgments. But if you ain't judging yourself, then those judgments cannot pierce your innocence. Never, 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 never. Nope, a judgment cannot pierce your innocence, ever, unless you yourself are delivering it to yourself. You hand deliver it. You've only ever hand delivered an insult to yourself. I don't know what I'm saying now anymore, but this is the gift frequency. This is turning every moment into a yes and that is a playful romp into the realm of love and the mystery of what can happen if we smile and laugh and slow down and listen and be fully present without leaping into some reactive or repressive patterning, conditioning. So here we are cultivating this on Saturday morning in the Effortless Ecstasy session, 9 a.m. Pacific time, Saturday to 10:30. We're going to be doing a bunch of somatics to explore these frequencies and these fields of experience. So thanks for tuning in. God bless you. Aloha.